in the Valor series for Europe. It's going to be SK up 1 game over Team Vitality, and this is where things are really going to start to get interesting.
Yeah, SK does have a nice composition. They're not going to invade because Liliana is actually a little weaker in the early game. And yep, both teams are not going to invade here. They're going to play a little more passive because they know that they need to scale up their mages. Liliana and L'Oreal will need to scale up. Both captains or supports are in the middle of the lane here, giving vision. I love the rotation. I love the rotation that Mina's doing. She's checking on the enemy jungle, see where they're at, and giving their team information to then rotate and make a play here.
And so just like that, we did see Vitality also get themselves a little bit more defensive of a start. They didn't fall prey to the disaster that was game number 1 by SK. As they're going to do a great little job, pull that might buff, get a nice little reset, and force a little bit of a change. But now the skirmishes are coming in. It's Vitality that decides to be the harassers.
Yeah, and this is where Mina gave vision, and then the Redemption and the side of Vitality cleared their jungle first, and now they're moving up towards SK here. And look at this engage here. A nice heal coming out, saving the enemy team. And let's see, it's going to come down to a few engage, and wow, SK takes the kill there.
Poseidon's able to pick up the kill onto Azure. Vex as well, and so just like that, that's going to be a nice little rebuttal there by Vitality. We said they needed to change up their playstyle, and they're doing just that.
Yeah, Vitality's definitely playing more confident, more aggressive now. This is looking really good for Vitality. SK did get the first kill, which gives them first blood. However, the gold lead is now swinging a little bit advantage in the side of Vitality, and they're doing a really good job here.
Arena of Valor, unlike other MOBAs you have the ability to buy your items while you're on the map.
Yeah.
And so if you are aggressive and you're able to get some extra gold into your pocket, you're going to find yourself in a much more successful position.
Yeah, and let's see who's in a posture. You see there, Azure is doing such a good job giving constant vision to his team. He then goes to the Abyssal Dragon, see the enemy team is on it. He pulls it to reset it, so it goes back, so that SK has no chance to rush it. And this buys his team more time because Roma is going home, and now they can basically set up and contest Dragon at this point.
I like the patience of Vitality being able to ensure that they're going to have these defensive positionings against the members of SK, because SK's aggression completely dominated, but more importantly, took the members of Vitality off guard. And so now things are going to be very important for Vitality to come off the mark. As that Abyssal Dragon is spawned, the members of SK are wanting to posture. The bird's going to go down into the favor of blue side. So they're going to have that vision capabilities. They're going to try to zone off the members of Vitality, but they're going to be trying to stick around. But all 5 members of SK are available.
Look at that ultimate by Crash there, and this is a huge push there. And then Zenio comes in from the other side of the map. This could be a turnaround fight for Vitality here, and are they going to secure some kills here against SK? And they do. Beautiful play there. This is what makes Zenio so good. He can ult from across the map, and they secure the Dragon and win the trade here. Oh, it's a 2-for-2 trade, but they get the Dragon, which is huge. 3-for-2.
3-for-2 trade, but more importantly, like you said, it was the fact that they got that Abyssal Dragon in their favor. That was a beautiful effort by Vitality, but more importantly, it was the patience that brought them on. We're going to be able to see in just a second exactly what happened on that mark, and this is where things are important, because SK, like what you mentioned, they were posturing, all 5 members were around, and now...
Look at the Zenio all come down onto the Crash there. Look at that stun. He lands a huge stun on an entire team. And look at their focus there. They're able to get the kill on Vex. Their key person, get the kill on Lumbar, and then get the Dragon here. Beautiful fight by Vitality.
We have conversed a lot about the power of Vex and what he provides for their team, but more importantly, if Vex goes down, that's the shot caller down for the members of SK, and so it's a really great effort for them if they're able to take him down, which in that last engagement they did. Now Vitality is up 2,000 gold here over SK at just over the 4-minute mark.
Yeah, I really like how Azure is playing. Watch the Mina. She has her second ability called Death Sit. She can pull someone to her and basically take them, put them in a really bad position and slowing their movement speed for 50% for 2 seconds. And she has ultimate Dark Dominion. That is the huge one. She doesn't have Flicker, but if the enemy team is engaging on their Liliana, she can use Dark Dominion to taunt the entire enemy team towards her and make them attack her instead of anyone else, and that gives the Vitality the time to then focus Vex down.
25 seconds until the next spawn, and we're at just over a minute until that Dark Slayer spawns. We talked a lot about the power of the Dark Slayer, but both of these teams actually delayed their first Dark Slayer take in that last game.
Yeah, for sure. You can see that Liliana is quite ahead here. 2.9k gold versus L'Oreal's 2.3. She already has an orb of Magi and a Gilded Greaves, and L'Oreal only has an orb and a tier 1 boot. So this puts them a nice lead here, where now they can start pressuring the map and hopefully start to snowball SK.
Siege weapons are up and available into the side, and now we're going to have Pitch try to get himself a little bit of an engage. We saw the last team fight at the Abyssal Dragon be a big decider for Vitality, but now it's Poseidon. He's going to go down, and what is this Vitality team we did not see in the last game?
They're catching them out. I mean, they're playing exactly what they need to do to win the fight. L'Oreal was out of position. It was a 1v4, and the Crash ulted. The Zinio came in from across the map, stunned her, and then L'Oreal was then locked down. That's L'Oreal's weakness. Once she gets locked down, she can't use her very mobile abilities and blinks to dodge, and they're able to win that trade, get the kill, and take another dragon. Now they're stacked 2 dragons, and they're ahead in gold and experience. And look at the gold lead here. They got 2 dragons, and SK only got 1, but look at the gold lead for the side of Vitality.
It's growing, growing, growing even farther for the members of Vitality. And we said they needed to change up the playstyle and stop the aggression. They're the ones that are being proactive now, ensuring that they read exactly where SK going is off the mark. Yes, they lost in a reverse sweep to Royal last week, but that doesn't mean that they don't have the capabilities to take something off of SK.
Yeah, the good news is SK has such a huge combo. They just need to fight together, right? Lumbar has an AoE stun, his ultimate. Zephy's has a knock-up, AoE knock-up. Malok has an AoE stun. So as long as they combo those 3 together, they can easily turn a fight around.
So now we're coming up on the 7-minute mark here. Game number 2, SK versus Vitality. The inaugural season of the Valor series for both Europe and North America, with all 4 quarterfinal matches being taken place today, as we're going to see a little bit of a slower matchup.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see how Wonder Woman will be able to play a key role in this fight here, because they need to basically dive in there and try to get onto the Liliana. If they don't get onto Liliana, SK is going to have a really hard time winning these fights.
Nice little bush check there by Aban. Wants to go in and see exactly where the members are. Remember, they don't have any vision utility, and so every chance to see some sort of vision from the enemy team is going to be those brush checks, and so it's going to have to be the tanky members or the more mobile characters that decide to get themselves off the mark, as the members of Vitality are waiting around in this middle lane bush. They're trying to catch a member of SK off guard. They're going to have to pull out all the tricks because they are 1 game away from losing this first quarterfinal match.
Yeah, I wish Vitality here, what they could have done is they need to posture like SK did in the last game and take over the dragon side of the map, you know, win the map control and take the objective. Because they didn't do that, that allows SK to then collapse as they're trying to take the dragon here, and it's an uneven number. Zenio needs to ult, and Zenio is ulting here onto the Crash. And now they're caught on. Beautiful ultimate by Crash there, landing a 3-person stun onto the team of SK.
And I like the dive potential. You had 7 going back up onto the Liliana, forcing him to walk all the way around and join the fight. SK Pitch is able to pick up that kill, and now this is where SK decides to turn them things around. The zoning of the Wonder Woman was impeccable at getting themselves a little bit of that success. It's not going to be enough damage. Another tower has been taken off in, I believe, the top lane of the map. Ika goes ultimate, and there is a little bit of life blown back into the sails of SK Gaming.
I'm just amazed by what Seven's doing. In the last game, Superman, he made some plays, and now in Wonder Woman, he actually zoned out the Liliana. He 1v1 Liliana on the bottom left of the fight, and Liliana could not use her AoE abilities and could not do anything in that team fight. And because she was zoned out, their main damage dealer was not in that fight, and that gave SK the damage the damage advantage, and that's what's won in the fight.
And this is where you're seeing a different play style from the Wonder Woman that we saw in Game 1. Vitality using that for a reactive, allowing the engage of SK, and then peeling for her carries, but just as successful at diving onto the Vitality carries, which is exactly what she did to allow themselves that last victory. That 4,000 gold lead has now been reduced to 3 as SK is clawing themselves back into this match.
Yeah, this is huge for SK, and if they keep this up, they're going to be able to come back in this game, because even though Vitality is ahead, they're not winning the objective game. They're not able to push down these towers and basically put more map control. So, because if you, as soon as you lose your tier 1, then tier 2, that opens up so much map pressure for your team, and that's exactly what Vitality needed to do with this comp, because now they're going to let SK scale a little bit here.
Trying to prioritize the bottom side of that map. They want to get this tier 1 turret down on the bot side to allow that cross map pressure from these minions that are coming down, because the Dark Slayer is available, but now it's going to be that Abyssal Dragon that everyone is trying to achieve. as it's going to be Vitality that wants to have it. I believe they're going to get it. Yep, that's going to be Redemption picking up that kill. Pitch tries to go in and help him out, but he's going to get caught out.
Yeah, that was a mistake there by Pitch there, trying to get the dragon. The reason why it's so risky because Ryoma has the punish. Punish is the jungle talent that allows you to hit a minion for over 1,000 damage, and he secured the dragon with that punish. So if Pitch knew that punish was up, he probably shouldn't have dove in there.
Nice little effort.
Gave away a death.
Sudaro's going to get that little transform going to try to see if they can take that top turret. We are at 10.5 minutes in game, so those towers go down a little bit quicker. That's going to be Vitality defeating Abane. He's going to go down. And this is, again, Vitality with these rotational efforts. They did not prioritize any objectives. I only think they took one tower in game number 1. And so now this game is a much more valiant effort to get themselves
one
off.
thing you gotta look, they have so much CC on the side of Vitality. Mina has her pull, her Sith, Death Sith, and her taunt ultimate Dominion. And also you look at Crash. Crash, when he metamorphoses and turns into this huge monster, every time he uses an ability, it slows the enemy next to him by 50% for 2 seconds. So if you're next to a Crash when he's metamorphed and he's in monster form, you're gonna have a really hard time escaping him.
You're not gonna find yourself in a. You're gonna find yourself in some tentacles and getting the life strangled right out of you. As we're at 11.5 minutes. It has been teetering back and forth, but it is truly in favor of Vitality as they are up 5,000 gold here at the 11.5 minute mark. Dark Slayer on the menu still available, and I know that it's something that both of these teams need.
Yeah, Dark Slayer is key here. Whatever team gets the Dark Slayer is going to be able to push down towers and basically win engages because of that 30% damage amplification that he gives to the entire enemy team. So this is a key objective. So for Vitality to set them up for the Dark Slayer, they need to push all the waves into the towers and crash into the tower. So that gives them the time to take the Dark Slayer while SK is distracted by trying to clear out the wave.
And I like this effort of Vitality as well to have the patience that they do. They know that they're ahead, but they know they need to choose their opportune moments more appropriately due to the crowd control available on SK Gaming. You saw a little bit of a skirmish happen. They're going to be forced to get themselves out and off the mark. They want this last outer turret. They want to get the outer ring out and available, which gives them a lot more. And look at that damage on a Poseidon.
Yeah, you can see the poke there from Liliana. It's just so much. It's just L'Oreal has such a hard time against Liliana because of that amount of poke. And look at Crash tanking for the tower and basically being able to take 2 towers in this one play here. And this is what makes Crash so good. Maybe this is why they prioritize him, because once he ults, he has such a huge shield buff that he can tank these towers and push down objectives.
4 tower shots was just enough to take out the shield, but it didn't eliminate any of the Crash health. So he is absolutely on the mark as we come up on the 13-minute mark. And again, the patience of Vitality is the name of the game. They are making sure that they know every moment they want to go in. You mentioned it beforehand that their shot calling and their strategic macro play was exactly what they felt was their biggest strength, and you can see that shining here and right now.
Yeah, you can see, look at the items on the side of Vitality. Their damage dealer is Liliana. She has the orb, she has it looks like a boomstick there, she has the mask which gives her magic pierce. That she's mostly the damage on her team. Ryoma has rank breaker Muramasa, which gives him some pierce and a lot of attack damage. But Liliana is the person that they need to focus on. But with Zinio and Crash and Mina giving so much peel and protection, it's going to be so hard for the side of SK to really get onto this Liliana. And on top of that, when she does Fox form, when she transforms, it's an iframe or an invincibility frame. She can basically dodge abilities and dodge stuns.
Indeed, but now it's going to be another skirmish on the top side of the map. It is team fight after team fight with Team Vitality ensuring that every opportunity they have to be together, they're capitalizing on just that. Wonder Woman tries to get to the back line, but it doesn't matter. Redemption is going to rip him away and send him back to the gray screen as now the Crash crops up with that ultimate, taking those tower shots, and they're going to secure themselves that second top turret.
Yeah, and you can see that Liliana, Roman tried to 1v1 Liliana, but what's different here, Liliana did not kite away from her. They stayed in the fight, they focused, they got the jet, and then the entire team collapsed onto the Wonder Woman because she was so overextended. Wonder Woman does not have a good escape. That's her thing. She needs to initiate, and the entire team needs to go with her. If she initiates and the team's not with her, she's in a really bad position.
SK dominated game number 1. They were the aggressors, but more importantly, they were the ones that were blindsiding Vitality every mark. But now it's Vitality that's going to be striking themselves back, securing that first high ground turret. And this is where things are going to start to get very interesting, because with the super minions in the top side of the map, that's going to be a great chance for Vitality to secure themselves a game number 2 and even up this series.
Yeah, for sure. I would like Lombard to use this Earth Splitter along with Zephy's Death from Above. That is, the Death from Above from Zephy is an AoE team stun. If the team is, Vitality's bunching up a lot. So Zephy lands a Death from Above on top of the entire enemy team, knocks them up, and then Lombard then does an Earth Splitter to knock them up again. That's a combo that SK needs to execute to really win these team fights here.
Now, let's talk a little bit about the scaling of both of these teams, because SK, while they have a little bit of a disadvantage, they do scale themselves up. Cressy's going to get that ultimate, a huge shield to take onto the back line. Moon's going to be forced to go away. A great little dive there by Vex to help them off. And this is a very long and engaged team fight as the members of Vitality are doing everything they can, but SK's focus is going to be the name as Poseidon takes down Sudaro, and they're going to continue off the max. Redemption goes down as well. Poseidon barely survives by the skin of his teeth. They're going to pick up a third kill, and this is SK turning things around.
Yeah, very nice fight by SK there. Liliana was not untouched, and she wasn't able to, I mean, she landed a lot of good abilities, but she had to wait for abilities to cool down. What I would love to see is once the enemy team was low, she needs to transform into Fox form and back and forth, because when she transforms, all of her abilities gets reset, because when Fox form has different abilities, she can then use those abilities and transform back and then immediately use her human form abilities. So in that entire fight, she was human form, the whole fight. So I felt like, you know, he could have played Liliana a little more aggressively there because they're ahead and have the damage.
But if you take a look at the winning strategy of the last two team fights that SK has been able to win, it's if they're able to zone out Moon on that Liliana. The damage is fantastic, but if you've got a giant Wonder Woman sitting on your face, you're not going to be able to do too much.
Yeah, exactly. And the one thing about Fox form that people don't know is she's one of 4 mages that can crit on magic damage. Her Fox form, which she uses ability, actually can crit. So that's something that has a huge magic burst potential, and this is what makes Liliana such a good hero, because you have to be careful with the Fox form. Once she dives in, she's in a vulnerable position, but she's more of a damage burst assassin that pokes from afar and then leaps into Fox form to then assassinate one of her targets. And that's how I would love to see Liliana be played, Moon play a little more aggressively with her here.
A little bit of a slower reset now. We've had fight after fight, but both of these teams, neither one wanting to get themselves too aggressive, trying to calculate exactly when they want to make things a little bit easier for both of them, as now the members of Vitality as well as SK are lurking onto that top side of the map. You can see the split push happening. That second tier turret on the bot side is going to be very, very low, and it looks like Ika's just going to go in. He just wants to finish that off, trying to get that cross-map pressure, as now the members of Vitality are going to get into the SK jungle and try to secure themselves a little bit of knowledge of where all of these members are.
Yeah, exactly here. So now they're going to basically play a little more passive, both sides here. Liliana is going to want to poke as much as possible. So I'd love to see Vitality just poke more and not engage so heavy, and let Liliana do the poke and force a really awkward or forced error from the side of SK to dive onto and try to get to the backline for Liliana, because honestly, Vitality has the rain advantage, so there's no reason to dive against SK right now.
Fights around the Darkslayer happening. Redemption's going to go off onto the mark. He's going to have to be zoning himself out. And just like that, it's going to be Wonder Woman taking down Liliana, the main damage dealer for Vitality, as this is where SK turned themselves around. They had the resilience. They weathered the storm of Vitality. A double kill is going to come down for SK, and just like that,
they get ace, and that's going to be the game.
Fumbled early, and that is probably going to be game. Instead, it looks like they're actually going to go straight for the Dark Slayer, but the disadvantage that SK had was now turned around with an impeccable team fight.
Yeah, and that's where Ryoma was not in that fight. You know, he was on the other side of the map, and they shouldn't have fought that. They should let Liliana poke and then just disengage, but Zephyrs was able to get onto Liliana. Wonder Woman engaged really hard, so SK just executed the win condition really well, got a 3-on-1 onto Liliana and just basically deleted her, and then that basically won them the fight.
And so now the turrets are down. We are at the 19-minute mark, and this is where death timers are starting to get themselves very, very long as 2 turrets go down. The Dark Slayer is in the pocket. They're going to get themselves an Abyssal Dragon to boot, and just like that, that 7,000 gold difference is now been down to just 1,000. At the 19 mark, it's essentially near negligible.
Yeah, and look at the build on the side of SK. They have 4 people with Medallion of Troy, except for Lombard, who just needs a lot more defensive stats. But they have Medallion of Troy, which makes them a little more tanky against the Liliana's pokes. But Hercules Madness on the Wonder Woman, and it's the fist with the fire there. It's on Wonder Woman and Malak. That gives them increased attack damage, and also they gain a shoot for 8 full seconds when their HP falls below 40%. So when they're low, under 40%, this makes them extremely more tanky, and it gives them magic defense and armor, which is a great item I see picked up by Malak and Wonder Woman here.
So now we're coming up on the 20-minute mark. Item builds are starting to get themselves finished and complete. And taking a look at the scaling of both of these teams, they are going to have themselves quite the opportunity. But look at how tanky that front line is for SK.
Yeah, wow. Very, very nice poke there onto a lumbar. And they got to defend this tower here. And it looks like they're going to engage here. And I think they should just, again, the Liliana needs to poke more often here, and they need to just back up. There we go. Nice play by Vitality here, and let's see if they're going to convert this. And look at this combo onto the enemy team. Nice. Mina went in there, used her abilities, but they are not able to secure a kill.
They're not. There's too many tanky members as well as too much regen available for the side of SK. Another blue tower has been defeated, and this is where SK is starting to. They clawed themselves out of the hole of the deficit, and now they're blazing full forward behind that beautiful shield of Wonder Woman and all the power that she provides.
Yeah, what I would like to see the side of Vitality build to help Liliana is Soaring Aura. Soaring Aura is an item that if you're near the enemy team, it actually decreases their magic defense by 800 units. It basically reduces the managed defense within 800 unit span. So if the Mina or the Crash is around the enemy team, the entire enemy team loses the magic defense and makes Liliana's abilities more potent. And I don't see a Soaring Aura to counter the Medallions of Troy that the side of SK has built. So this is going to be a really tough matchup now for Vitality because both teams have scaled into the late game and they're almost completely full build on every side.
So taking a look at what you see from both of these teams, who do you feel is the outscaling? We don't really talk about scaling because very seldom do we actually see games go this long. Where do you see the scaling, and which of these teams do you see coming out on top?
Yeah, I think SK has a better scaling now. Their team composition has a lot of defense. They have three. They have Hercules on Zephyrs and on Malik. Zephyrs is already tanky naturally. When he falls below a certain percent HP, he starts regenerating more HP and becomes a little harder to kill. Along with Hercules Madness, which gives him, a huge barrier for 8 seconds once his HP falls below 4%. They want to win the sustain fight here and get onto Liliana.
The members of SK aren't grouping themselves into dubs. Usually we see teams with that 4-1 split on the cross-map pressure, but instead they're going with the 2-3 mid lane to bot respectively because they want to make sure that they stay together because the crowd control that they have as a team are plenty of enough to lock down the high priority targets of Vitality.
Yeah, and I really like the Zephyrs build here. He doesn't have a lot of damage, a lot of health. Every 3% of HP that he loses, it grants him 1% in damage reduction. This is what makes Zephyrs so hard to kill. And if he can stick onto the Liliana and not die before he can kill her, then SK is going to win a lot of these fights here.
Well, we are at the 22:45 mark. A much longer game than I think we were anticipating from both of these teams, and it all it's all because of SK Gaming and the resilience that they had. They weathered the storm of Vitality, but you have to think about it from the other side of Vitality. They weren't able to finish the game and have allowed SK to scale themselves up and to catch up in gold.
Yeah, exactly. Vitality needed. They were winning the early game. They were ahead, 3,000 gold. They needed to push down objectives here. They're actually pretty even on objectives. They actually have one tower ahead of the side of SK. But this is looking really tough because SK is playing more. They're posturing more aggressively here, and Vitality is playing more passively. So what each team needs to do is they need to basically poke. Liliana needs to poke and force an awkward engage from the side of SK. And then once they get them low, just rush the Darkslayer once it's up. And that's what they need to do. Whoever wins the Darkslayer or wins the next team fight is going to win the game, most likely.
They're continuously pushing up these waves, forcing the members of Vitality to stay in, starving them of those jungle resources as well. As we see every single member outside of Azure above that 10K gold mark as we're rounding up on 24 minutes. The starving of Vitality has been extremely important for SK because the members of Vitality haven't been able to completely finish that last mark.
Yeah, for sure. Ryomo actually sold his boots here, so that he's going to play around the Liliana. Yep, they just need to keep poking here. Liliana they have more range. I don't know why Vitality's playing more scared. They just need to protect her and let her poke down the enemy team on SK and then force a fight here. Because if they keep this up, it's going to allow SK, like SK has the map control. They're going to rush the Darkslayer and then most likely end this game here.
The Darkslayer being extremely important on the next mark, and it looks like Vitality wants to get themselves a little, and Poseidon's going to find himself caught between.
By
and this is where things are going to start to get themselves crazy. Poseidon's able to get himself healed up enough Sudaro on that front line. That's going to be a very powerful crash in. He's going to try to get himself a multiple knockup. Azure is on the back line. He's going to go down to Vex, and this is where SK finally turns themselves around. They struggled, they fought, they clawed, and it's now them with the victory. They're going to secure themselves multiple kills. They're going to get themselves fought, and it looks like they might win the game.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be the game here. They get 2 kills. That's enough. With Zeffy's down, they're probably not going to push. Oh, they give another death over.
Uh-oh.
But he has Ancestral Glory. Yeah, the throws are coming out here, and wow,
Hello,
now they
team?
can't get Darkslayer. They should have went for Darkslayer here. Now it's even again because it's not enough damage here for them to take Darkslayer.
It was a 2-for-2. Azure barely coming out alive. That was the choke point that they wanted, but SK get themselves caught between a rock, a hard place, and a very angry Vitality team.
Yeah, I really like Moon to use Fox Form more often in these fights. Like, the team is getting low. They're CCing constantly. Like, jump in there with Fox Form. Use your Reiki shot. Your Reiki shot has 200% AP, 2.0 AP ability power scaling AD damage. So she needs to use the Fox Form more often because that's where the burst and the damage is coming from. And that's what's going to basically able to secure some kills here. But instead, she's just poking in human form and letting her team engage. And her cooldown is not that fast. It's short, like 4 seconds. But then it's not enough damage output to really secure a lot of these kills.
Well, SK gets himself a little bit of a trip up. 2 members going down, being caught out, but all the while they still find themselves in the lead, about 1.7k gold. 26 minutes into the game, a much longer game than what we were usually anticipating, but with both teams at full build, the name of the game is team fights, as both Vitality and SK the next winner. And let's talk a little bit about Poseidon, not a member that we talked a lot about coming into this game, but he's sitting at 7-2-9 on that L'Oreal.
Yeah, the L'Oreal late game is such a beast, and his build, I love his build. Ancestral Glory means he's going to be revived. He has the Hekates, which gives him a lot of ability power amp, 30% more ability power, along with a decent pierce. And then you have the Medallion of Troy to protect against the Liliana, which is interesting because I feel like more damage would be a little better on her because the way L'Oreal plays is she basically jumps in and delete. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen. They're playing a little passive because no one wants to make a mistake. And this is, I guess, an EU more of a perspective here because EU is a little passive with how they play. So one mistake here from either side of the team will probably end the game. So let's see what's going to result here.
And so this is where we talked about, you said it's either a team fight or the Dark Slayer. You've got 3 members down, and with the late game damage, it is going to be SK securing themselves at Dark Slayer, and this is where Vitality is going to have to pull themselves a last stand if they want to win.
Exactly, and then SK is the more aggressive one. They're more decisive, and because of the Dark Slayer, they now need to focus the towers. So what they need to do here is get the tower down and then fight, because if they leave the tower up doing damage to them, it's going to really put them in an awkward position, and they need to push all 3 waves, and that's why Zeffy is going to the bottom wave here. They need to make all 3 waves crash into all 3 towers and then start taking 1 tower at a time.
It's going to have to be all on the patience of SK, but more importantly, it's going to have to be on the trip up of Vitality. If they can keep Moon alive and they can allow that Liliana poke, they're going to find themselves in a little bit more advantageous position, but SK has done a fantastic job at getting to the back line and ensuring that he is out of the fight and has essentially no impact.
Yeah, and Moon needs to poke a lot more here. And there's their engage here. Are they going to focus the tower here? No, SK is getting focused. Even with the Dark Slayer buff, is not enough damage now to delete anyone. SK's health bars are going right down.
The health bars are going down. The
tanky so
Moon is able to get all the damage onto the back line. They're going to have just enough regen, but it's not going to be enough. It's going to be knockup after knockup. Poseidon's going to end up going down, but he's going to have that Astral Scoring to get himself back up on the mark. 7 down to 25% HP. Poseidon's going to take out Ika, and this is where SK potentially can turn it off and around. Sudaro barely alive. He's down to 5% HP. Going to jump around and have just enough of a shield to help him out. Redemptions go down. He's going to get the revive. Yes, he's going to get it, and that's going to be 7 taking out Azure as well. And the prolonged team fight happens. Sudaro's going to come himself done up, and oh no!
Yeah, this is what Ancestral Glory, guys. Look at their items here. They all have Ancestral Glory, so as soon as they kill, they come back in the game and revive, and that's where the team needs to focus and wait for the revive to come and then kill them.
30 minutes into the game, Not too sure that's where you wanted to be. That's going to be a 50-second death timer, which, believe it or not, 50 seconds is a long time. And if they're able to take out Poseidon as well, this could be Vitality ending it.
Oh, L'Oreal, she jumped out of the ultimate there. Her smite, the ultimate's smite, and she should have used that Judgment Circle to stay in there and then bait the Roma to try to fight her in her ultimate. Because she jumped out of the ultimate, she's not as strong and her abilities don't come off cooldown as quickly, and that was not a good fight there for SK.
35 seconds on Poseidon. Remember, we are into the late game. It's going to be 55-second death timers.
Yeah, they can end. They can end with this because look at the timers. It's 26, 25 seconds. They have enough time to push the wave here, get some more kills, and hopefully end the game. So let's see what they decide.
They're going to get themselves a little bit of a split push. You got themselves on the top side of the map. Remember, high ground turret was taken much earlier in the match. You're down to 30% HP. Here is where the members of Vitality can potentially end themselves the game. 5 seconds left on Poseidon, so we have to make sure that we worry about it. It looks like they're just going to ignore all the members. They want to go for the core. They do not care.
Look at the damage that's coming out. Everyone's focusing tower right now, but can they pull it off? No, they can't. And this is such a heartbreaking loss for Vitality here.
They tried ignoring. They tried ignoring the members of Vitality, but it didn't matter. The 4v5, it wasn't enough because, like we mentioned, there's too much crowd control. And SK, it looks like they are going to be able to get themselves a final push.
Yeah, and look at the team here. Oh no! The minion!
Oh, the minions! The minions! The minions come through! Vitality!
The super minion!
It's all on the minions. Who cares about a hero flex?
I did not even notice that.
They get themselves the victory and the backdoor of all
MVP
backdoors.
goes to super minion.
Even a pawn on the chessboard is